right, good morning, everybody. It's December 5th, 2024, and we're in the desert in Quartzsite, Arizona, reading the comments video. But first, we got to talk about the weather, right? It's right in here, it's 44 degrees, and the forecast for today is a high of 78, low of 48 with sunny skies. And I see pretty much sunny skies for the next 10 days. There are a couple of days that have a little tiny cloud in the corner. That's not really an issue. Temperatures run into the 70s, and then we have a front coming in on Monday afternoon, Monday night, and it drops down to 63 for a couple of days, and then we're back up into the low 70s. Beautiful weather, and I like to flip through and look at the wind speeds, and I'm flipping through. Everything looks good. Anything less than 10, it's just not. It's pleasant. Now, when that front comes through, it looks like that front's going to hit Monday afternoon. Boom, we're at 14 mile an hour per winds, and same for the next day. That's a front coming through for about 24 hours, and then we're back down to the normal 70-degree temperatures and normal wind speeds. So I'm going to read this first comment, and then we're going to talk about the mistake I made that this guy pointed out. This was on my tote and macerator complete guide A to Z. I told you how I park here for 4 months. I don't move, and I showed step by step how I use a macerator pump, a hose, and a tote to take my wastewater in the tote in the back of my pickup truck to the dump station, so I don't have to move my trailer. It's quite effective. I love the process, and I wanted to do a continuous video without editing to show you real time what it really takes from start to absolute finish. Now, in my pursuit of doing the video, I forgot to do a very important thing, and many people called me out on it. This guy, very nicely, it's Billy, says, maybe you should have taking your dirty clothes off before touching, and he meant my gloves, before touching the wood steering wheel. I was just watching the video and thought of that watching your drive. And he kind of thought it was funny. Many people did not think that was funny at all. Many people were very upset by that. Basically what they're talking about is when I hook up the hoses and fill the tote, I wear rubber garden gloves, and I forgot to take them off when I went to get into the truck and go into the trailer and start touching things other than the hoses in the tote. And people were particularly disturbed by seeing my hands on the steering wheel in the truck with those gloves on. Now, at the end of the video, part of the process was removing the gloves, and then before I do my fresh water, I showed disinfecting my hands after I took the gloves off. But it was just a very poor example for me to set. And if I could do it over, I'm not going to do the whole thing over. It's got over 2,500 views. Most people liked it. 97% of there 97% likes, 3% dislikes. 5 people actively hit the dislike, which means probably, many multiples of that disliked that video. And I apologize for setting a bad example. It wasn't intentional. I got distracted, and I did not realize I had done that. And of course, when you're handling wastewater, you need to be careful. A lot of people use the medical gloves and disposable gloves. That's probably the best way. I use sort of rubberized work gloves, and they're reserved just for that task and nothing else. And that's probably not the best idea. Somebody even said you should have used 3 sets of gloves when you did that. So going a little far, it's almost a hazmat suit. But anyway, I'm not going to read any of the other comments on it, as I don't want to belabor this, but I thought I'd read the very first comment of the day was from Billy, and he was very nice about it. And he said, this doesn't look so great, Rob. And I think I did a great job on virtually everything else. So if you saw that video and you're taking, you want to imitate what I'm doing, please do much better than I did at the potential cross-contamination. So thank you, Billy. And thank you for everyone else that noticed, and I apologize if it was gross or offensive to you. Most people liked it. And I think most people either didn't notice or didn't think it was a big deal. And it's not my place to say whether you're right in thinking it's a big deal or not. It's not my place. Hang on a second. I just released a video on positive news, and I got a signal that everything's okay, so I need to kind of turn it on. So give me a second. I got to turn on monetization after it clears everything, so I can get my 3 cents for the 90 views I'm going to get on this video. Positive news videos rarely get over 100 views, but I love doing them. It puts me in a good mood. This one was about a family that found their she found her nonverbal brother, who is unable to tell anyone who he is, where he's from, or anything. After 25 years, she found him. Amazing story. Just heartwarming. Okay, Philip Williams on the Quartzsite Comments. Philip, as far as dogs out of their environment, this is Philip, who's here in Quartzsite now, and he described where he was, and I went over and met him and met his dog, Scarface. And it's not after the movie Scarface. He had a little scar on his face when he got him, so called him Scarface. As far as dogs out of their environment, Scarface is used to not having a collar or chain. My house, when I bought it, I built a fence around the backside just for the dogs. So you can see how the leash, the desert, and all the people and animals is effective. And I know one thing, he will be fine. So as soon as I met Scarface, I sat on the mat, got down to, and waited for him to come to me. He was very timid, very nervous. This is a new environment. It's just like I told the story about taking Dottie to spend the night in Lake Havasu. Dottie was not happy with that. Where are you, Dottie? Oh, she's sound asleep, as usual. So anyway, he says, I know one thing, he'll be fine. He's just trying to find his groove. Yeah, it makes him not that different from the rest of us, is it? We're all trying to find our groove sometimes. PSR White, hi, just found your channel, love your videos. 2 other YouTube content makers live near you in the queue. I'm not too far here in Phoenix. I hope to get to the queue soon to meet you all. And Mario Fuentes on the macerator. We'll just call it the macerator. It's the macerator is the pump that pumps the wastewater into the tote. Let's call it the tote video. The tote video. I got tired of watching you working. You're very methodical in your procedures. He said processors. I'm not sure if that's a word. I think he meant procedures, but processor, it could be. And I salute you for a well job done. Job well done, maybe. Barry, don't worry. I type these stuff and it gets mixed up all the time. Great video in disposing your black water. God is love. God is love you and Dottie, and the Lord Jesus Christ love you too. Let's see. Thank you, Mario, by the way. Sherry Newman, not Shireen. You know when it's all squeezed together. Sherry Newman. I have a question about medical care hospital. Where do you go for emergency? La Paz Hospital is in Parker. It's about 45 minutes away. It's a much bigger hospital, an hour and a half away in Yuma. There's also, for super emergencies, there's a helicopter service. And I recommend to everyone that come here that if you think you might be at risk for severe illness or injury, I'm going to take a minute to find this card for you. Oh, that's not it. It's going to be you know what? It isn't that. It's the third one. This is not it. It was there just a second ago. Here. Come on. There it is. All right. It doesn't have any identification information. Here it is. Hope you can see that. All right. It's called www.airmedcarenetwork.com. I think it costs me about $79 a year, and it covers me in case something happens and it's decided by the providers that are responding that I need to be flown by helicopter to a hospital. Just so you know, that's not a decision you get to make as a patient. It's like if you call 911, they come and evaluate you and they make the decision. We're going to fly you. They may ask you, is that okay? Or you may not be able to answer. And if they're going to call for a helicopter, you're going to go. Now, if you don't, your insurance may not pay for it. And they may not pay, it could be devastating. Anywhere from $10,000 to I've seen $90,000 bills online if you go look at stories. And this covers it. One thing that you have to do is if you get this I think it's $79 a year membership per year, it's not going to cost you anything if you get airlifted, which gives me peace of mind. But you have to make sure that the air medical service in the area that you're going to be is in their network. If they're not, it's not going to be useful. So in Pahrump, and where I stay in New Mexico, and here, the local air flights are in the network. So we're good. All right, Boot76, good morning and great informative video. That's on the tote video, by the way. One of the things I love about RV life is that there's always room to learn things and tricks from others, no matter what your level of full-time experience. Good day. So, hey, Boot, glad you liked it. I'm glad that you thought it was a good thing. And Jerry Chang says, such a thorough presentation. Thanks for showing us the process. You're welcome, Jerry. Okay, let's tap on that. And these are all on the tote video. Bob Martins, I basically do the same thing, but I installed a simple screw on nipple on the fitting in the middle top of the tank. No mess possible. Open the orange cap at the top and you can watch it as it gets full. As a coincidence, I just discovered that because I was missing a cap and I went online to replace it and I saw what he's talking about. I ordered it and it should be there by the next time I have to do this. I also installed a 12-volt socket for the pump by the pump wired into the RV system. All super easy and cheap, just makes it easier. Thanks for showing us. Yeah, what happened was it's right, there's a storage cabinet right above where it is, and I just plug it into my power station that sits in there, and it turns out, and it's basically, other than for backup, it's the only thing I use that power station for, and I went to plug it in, doing the video. It was dead. And it was dead because, one, I left the power station on, and two, the solar panel became unplugged. So it just, over a couple of weeks, it just drained the battery down to zero. So I had to rig something up. I had to stop. That's the one place where I stopped the video because I didn't think it was valuable to show you the time to correct that mistake. So anyway, thanks, Bob. It's a good suggestion, and just by coincidence, I ran into exactly the same thing. Great minds think alike, right? Ron Leak, how do your turds fit through that little blue hose? Well, a little bit of a crude way to ask, but nonetheless accurate and polite, and turd is good. I don't know, feces would be better. It's just there's no delicate way to say it. And it's a really good question if you don't really understand what a macerator is. And a macerator pump not just pumps the liquid, but it grinds and liquefies anything that goes through that. That's maceration is the name of that process. So it's not a regular pump like you would pump a regular liquid. It's a pump that turns any solids into liquid. So it's totally pure liquid when it comes out. Good question, Ron. Don Collin Creative, what type of phone holder do you use? Okay, Don. I hope you're watching this because I'm counting on people watching this so I don't have to type stuff in. So I will go to my orders and I will search for that phone holder. Boy, it was a while ago, but it's a great one, so it's worth. There it is. Make sure it's still available. It's $30, but boy, is it worth it. It is Leepiya, Leepiya, phone mount video recording universal magic arm. There it is. You want to, whoops. I have to go through the whole thing again. I apologize. To waste your time. Sip your coffee. There. We're going to just hold that up to the screen there. That's Amazon. There you go. It's a great phone mount. And let me tell you something. I've had it for over a year. So I purchased it. It shows here September 22nd, 23. It's $31. There are no used ones available because there wouldn't be. Because why would you give this up? I've tried so many different, phone mounts for my car. And this one by far is the most sturdy, practical. 2 thumbs up. So, good question. Let's see. Ken Gray. You know what I could do is I could just go to... I should, you know what? Shame on me. Because I can easily just go to Amazon, go to my orders on the laptop here, and I can very quickly find it again on here. If I was able to spell the word phone correctly, it would be very good. And we'll go down here. We will find that thing. And I will put it, and if you want to buy one of these things, I'm going to put a link to, I'll go back into my orders, find a link. Where does it say? Now, I'm not used to, where is the thing where it says you can link to it? All right, I'm wasting more of your time. I'm sorry. But I can't see where you can copy the link. I guess I'll just copy the whole thing from the address bar. That's all I can do. That'll work, right? And I'll do a reply just in case he doesn't. Not everyone that comments watches this, Rob. All right, for Ken. For hair and beard, the scrubs work just wonderfully. They even make pre-moistened shower caps, although I'm not a fan of them. I don't need it. So scrubs is these little pads that you soak in water and warm water, and you can just clean your whole body. It's got soap in it, and there's some process where you don't need to rinse off. Some people are, their skin sensitive to it, not me. The soap disappears, you dry off immediately, you feel just as clean as you do after a shower, and it has an added bonus where you can drop that wet thing down on the floor, and with your foot, you can mop. If you're a little tiny trailer like me, you can mop the whole floor and then throw that thing away, and you've got a clean body and a pretty clean floor too. So, scrubs, and that's, I think, SCRUBZZ, scrubs. Mike Whitaker on Tote says, you should show Eric, Nomadic Fanatic, your setup. Because he was struggling with doing this, and he was trying to tow his tote, and he was having a hard time doing that. Ken Gray says, with my ASD, negative feedback, you're doing it wrong. Positive feedback, you were a bit hard to hear that time. That was someone, I guess he's talking about a comment where someone said there's something wrong with my audio, but I think it was on their end. I'm careful doing that because sometimes, most often, when people said they can't hear, it is my problem. Most often it's something on my end. But so the first thing I do is I listen to the video on my phone, and then I listen to it on my TV to make sure it's the normal volume. And in this case, they said, I can usually hear your comment videos, but this one I couldn't. So then I compared it to a previous couple of ones, and it was all the same. So it wasn't me this time. Ken says, I remember them playing, this is on Quartzsite Comments, I remember them playing taps at 1 a.m. asking if you know where your kids are. We're talking about old-time 1960s TV. Then the test pattern. Then at 5 a.m. then we play the national anthem and the flag and say, we now begin our broadcast day. They did. And Robin Goff says, I remember that too, Ken. Glad they don't do that anymore. Where I am in Southeast Washington, for some reason, an emergency test sound and message happens at 2 a.m. That I don't like. It's those loud, annoying tones that are even louder than the TV volume. Probably last 30 seconds or so. Ken Gray, cut green beans are okay for dogs as long as they're fresh or frozen. Dogs can also eat peas. Most variety green peas are fine, including snow peas, sugar, snap peas, garden, and English peas. That was a response to someone saying in the comments that you shouldn't feed your dog the green beans because it'll give him kidney problems. I'm like, somebody back her up on this. If that's true, I'll stop, but I haven't heard that or seen that anywhere. On the tote, Dramsey68 says, I wish you hung out long enough to see how much free water the guy got. Maybe you need to take 2 chugs. Yeah, it's the water station, it's 5 gallons for $1, and it always gives you far more than 5 gallons. I have a 6-gallon container. It was still going when I finished, and I shut it off and handed the hose to the next guy and said, there's still water coming out of here. Don't put your money in yet. And it's been like that. I suspect it dispenses, instead of 5, somewhere 6.5 gallons. And it's been that way for years at this location. That's why I go there. I mean, it's not a big deal to put in $1.25. It would be $25 for 1 more gallon. But if I don't have to. Veronica, I've been full-time for a year now and I'm still learning as I go. A friend told me about emptying my tanks using a macerator. The only difference is I bought a 55-gallon plastic barrel and he put on the black valve for me. That way I can empty both my tanks at the same time. That would take both my tanks full in 55 gallons, but it's you would have to go to get in line for the regular dump station here in Quartzsite in the LTVA, because there's a maximum of 35 gallons containers at what they call the Blue Boy station. And I think it's 35 because the original Blue Boys were 35. And the new ones like I have are 36, but I don't think they don't turn you away for being 1 gallon over. Thank goodness. Lee in Wisconsin says on the Quartzsite Comments video, where's Dottie at? Lee, looking back at me. Dottie's always right in back of me. And I can even see on the thumbnail of the video you're talking about, I can see Dottie sleeping back there. So that's where Dottie is. Gene Hoffved. Hi, Rob. I just found your channel the other day. I'm appreciating your videos. I'm headed for Quartzsite for the RTR. That's the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous for inquiring minds. First time. Looking forward to it. No idea where I'll land, but with just a Subaru and a tent, I can go anywhere. By the way, I'm a veterinarian. Oh, yeah. And there are no particular problems with beans or peas besides the carbs and the Glyphosate, the effect of many products, unless we're talking about the theory about heart problems and grain-free foods, no link was ever been proven, and FDA quietly closed its investigation after finding nothing. I do endorse real, fresh, meat-based food for dogs, including fresh veggies, especially as opposed to highly processed kibble. Enjoy the dessert. Maybe I'll see you around. There you go. Validation. Validation. So sweet. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Gene. Let's see. I've never had a problem with sound on any of your videos, Rob. That's Robin Goff. Thanks, Robin. Sam Sears. Camco makes a float screw. There's another message on this. The top of the little cap thing, you can tell when you're full for like $12. And you'll take your gloves off, restart driving. That's, yeah. I get it. I saw that and I ordered one. Like the other guy said, it's a good idea. Don't forget to take your gloves off when you start touching stuff. Rob. Vanlifer RX, you had me good. That's a short I did yesterday. And it's adopted another pet and Dottie is not happy. So it tricked people into thinking I got somebody else. And it shows the opening of the short shows a view of Dottie looking at the camera on her bed outside. And I'm saying, Dottie, you don't seem happy about your new brother. And I'm very kind of disappointed in you. And she just kind of looks at me and then puts her head down and looks away. And I said, well, here's our new family member. And I pan it around and what I have. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do an extra edit today and I'm going to put in that short into here. Or can I do that easily? Actually, no, I can't. Can I? I don't think I can. Anyway, I can't. I can't without a lot of extra work. It pans around and it shows my new outdoor Christmas decoration, and it's an inflatable Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then George walks up and stands in the door and looks at the reindeer, and I have a little talk with George too. It was cute, it was funny, and she's saying you got me good because she thought, he got a new pet, but it's just an inflatable. And Ken Gray says, laugh out loud, feed that Rudolph less beer. I said we have to do something. It's a great pet, but got to do something about that red nose. That's Ken's sense of humor. If you don't know, it's because heavy drinkers get broken blood vessels in their nose and they get red noses. It's true. Spikers on the same short laughs. Thinks it's pretty funny. On the tote video, Fred Fegan. Thanks for always having the closed captions turned on. My wife does not speak English, and this allows her to be able to watch your videos in Vietnamese because we currently live in Vietnam and have RV trailers stored in Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, wow. The adopted pet short, Julie Hoot says, I'm excited to see another pet. And Philip on the same video does us a laugh and a heart. Bob Cruikshank. Bob's a friend of mine up in Pahrump that I met up at Preferred RV Resort. On the tote video says, very informative, Rob. Thank you. I was wondering how your pump worked. It'd piece having to hook up and drive over to the dump station every other day like I would have to do. Nancy Monderos on the adopted another pet, and she said, I heard her say, oh, brother. And on the tote, Saab 7531, I always take an empty 5-gallon bucket and fill it with gray water and dump it in the toilet to flush the blank tank out. Why waste the gray water? Use it in the toilet. And I read that and I went, wow. And synapses connected in my mind. this is a response to me saying, hey, the only drawback of this, it's like if you don't have hookups, there's no way to flush your black tank. So you run the risk of stuff building up because you're not able to flush it because you don't have the fresh water source. And he's saying, take some of your gray water, put it in a bucket, pour it into the toilet, and drain it back out. That'll flush it. It doesn't have to be clean. It doesn't have to be like pure water. It needs to be waters without sewage in it, and that'll flush everything out. Then I thought, well, you know what I could do is hook up the end of the hose that goes into the tote after I can empty the black water, and then when I shut that down and I can start clean. I mentioned in the video, you run the gray water through it a little bit and it sort of cleans any gunk in the garden hose that might be in there, and you can see it turns to regular looking water when it comes out. Is stop that, hook it up to the flush, which takes the garden hose, and then empty the gray tank into the black tank, and then move the hose back, and then drain the gray water that you put in the black tank out, and it's perfect. Saab, you're brilliant. Great idea. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And if I can do that and remember my cross-contamination protocols, I got this. I got it. It's good. Trip to Lake Havasu to see Daryl Michael Jorgensen. So cool, Rob. You found my weakness. I love full road trip videos. Yeah, I did put the camera on the hood for the trip on the road from Parker to Lake Havasu, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous drive. Adopted pet. Naj laughs and says, I don't know, I think George is impressed. She thought it was pretty funny. Dan Doe, on an older video, retiring early, full-time RV life tips for frugal or RV living. Rob, what a great video. We went to Quartzsite last year for the first time in a smaller RV. We got a bigger one this year and planning our second trip there in January. You mentioned you will do a video on groups that welcome anyone, and that's what we're looking for. Did you make that video by chance? If you, yes, can you please let me know which one it is? I'd like to get that info. Thank you so much for the very informative videos you make, and hope to meet you there in January. Yep, I've not done that video yet, but I will. It's an easy one to make. All right, let's see. I am stuck. Let's get unstuck. Okay, Debbie has a laughing smiley face on the shore. Lori Roar, friend of mine. George with momentary stare down. And 60 Clow, friend of mine. And Cheryl and Perump has a laughing, crying. So it looks like laughing so hard she's crying emoji. Tote video, Jack Rosowski. As usual, another great video, so insightful and concise. I love your channel. Well, thank you, Jack. And Wendy says on the adopted video, oh, George actually had to come to the door to see what was happening. Dottie giving that look like, really, Dad? They're both so cute. Wendy says on the positive news video about closed schools being repurposed, that is awesome to hear. From 2019 to 2022, I worked in recovery in an interim housing facility that held some of Los Angeles County's most difficult unhoused clients with severe mental issues along with other health issues, including addiction. During the COVID lockdown, many old motels were leased in order to house people, but towards the end of the pandemic, funding stopped and all were back on the streets. So many empty buildings around Los Angeles. They should be used like this. Thank you for sharing this story. Virginia says the shop where kindness is the currency. That's yesterday's positive news video. That's where a shop opened up in the way you pay for items is if you want this widget, then the price is 2 hours of volunteering at this particular agency, and you take that little ticket and you commit to doing that. You take the thing with you and you go to put in 2 hours of your time. Great idea. They do it with a bunch of local nonprofits. Just a wonderful story. And I think we have another. I saw another come in, so we got a couple. We got a couple here. Let's see. The tote. Thanks for the information. It was interesting for someone who's considering full-time RV life and being off-grid. You should consider a newbie series of videos walking people through things you found from your experience that are helpful and necessary in RV, why you decided to live full-time in an RV, and why you chose a travel trailer over other types of RV, how to set up a permanent domicile through mailing service, and how people can get their medications on the road. Just a thought or suggestions. Thanks either way. Enjoy the video. Well, Danielle, thank you. But I have over 1,000 videos on my channel, and I cover those topics multiple times. So go into my channel and start scrolling through, and you'll find things. You'll find those things for sure. Definitely, all of them. My whole channel is about those things for sure. All right, Graybeard says, I put the tank on the edge of the tailgate and strap it down with a tie-down strap so no manhandling the tote. Flush the tank in place with the water on the last. You can't do it in place with the water where I am, where the Blue Boy thing, because it's gravity fed, and if you put the water up to it's not going to run. It's got to be, for me to do it, it'd have to be on the ground. And every 2 or 3 times I take it off and put it on the ground. And they really don't like you driving with a tote up to the regular dump station where there's pressurized water. If they see you and it's busy, they'll tell you you can't do that. You have to go to the Blue Boy station, unfortunately. On the last dump, I loosened the tie down, stand up the tank, close the valve, switch the hose to the rear outlet, and flush very well. I use a 30-gallon water bladder and a 3-gallon per minute pump to transfer water to my trailer from my pickup bed. Yeah, I had a bladder. I found it, it was pretty cumbersome for me. I gave it away to a friend of mine who uses it routinely. She uses a lot of water, so it's a big help for her. I don't use that much water, so doing it 6 gallons at a time, 2 or 3 days a week really works well for me. But if you use water, if you're a big user of fresh water, that's a great idea. Thank you, Graybeard 1405. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And the videos today, and it's time I release this one. I really am looking forward to. I hope a lot of people enjoy this. It is about solar bills, one of the 2 big solar installation and solar and battery stores in town in Quartzsite. And I have an interview with the owner of Solar Bills. And it's not Bill. Bill sold it. So you'll find out who bought it 4 years ago. And the hint is his initials are Gus. His name is Gus. He's a great guy. And good interview with him. Just be warned, there's a lot of stuff before the interview with Gus. So right at the beginning of the video, I give you the timestamp of, if all you want to do is see the solar bill stuff, you go to like the 20-minute mark and boom, there it is. And then there's stuff after that. But I can't stand it when I see a thumbnail and a title for something and it takes them 20 minutes to get to the point that I clicked on the video for. So I wanted to eliminate that frustration. So we just released that, and the missing man found after 25 years is the positive news video, and of course this one. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.